what is attachment? What is detaching? So people always say, like, you need to become unattached to your manifestations. You need to detach from whatever it is that you want can help you solve everything you need. And so without it, you are nothing. You are nothing without it. And that's how you become unhealthily attached to something. You're living your life out of a wound. You're not being authentic. You can't be authentic because you don't feel safe enough to be authentic. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I just kind of want to make a short video and I want to speak on something that I personally have learned. I have mastered it in certain areas. I haven't mastered it in other areas, which I will get to that and I'll kind of like explain where I've been able to apply this, where I'm still trying to apply and why it's difficult. And that's attachment, right? People always say, like, you need to become unattached to your manifestations. People kind of say this a lot. Like, they'll say, you know, like, you need to detach from whatever it is that you want. You need to detach from your outcome. And what does that mean? How do you even do that? That's something that I've wondered for a really long time. So first, let's kind of start. What is attachment? What is detaching? So basically, attachment is the relationship that you have with anything. It could be the relationship that you have with a person and how close that relationship is. It's how you feel about that relationship. And so when people say to detach, they don't actually mean to detach. What they really mean is to have a healthy attachment to that thing. And so I'm going to just use the word detachment because what it means to be unhealthily attached to something is basically meaning that you feel dependent on it to live or to feel good about yourself. And so when you're unhealthily attached to a person, to a concept like success, money, love, to literally anything, you could be attached to anything. It means that you need it to comfort yourself. You need it to feel good. You need it to love yourself. You need it to live. Like, you feel like you need it to live. And kind of like a good way to know if you're attached to something is imagine your life without it. And if you feel like you would kill yourself, that's a good way to know if you're attached. Because when I was attached to something, like when I was a teenager and I was so attached to the concept of love, when I imagined my life without ever finding it, I was like, that's pointless. I'm just gonna die. Like, what's even the point? And it's like that I was attached. Another way that I used to be attached to something was my biggest dream when I was growing up was to be a singer and to be like a musician. It was like my biggest dream. I'm literally wearing a Declan McKenna shirt right now. He was my idol. I wanted to be him so bad. And he's just a singer, if you don't know. He sang the song Brazil, but I was like a diehard fan of his. I still listen to his music all the time. And I thought to myself, like, one day I was like thinking to myself, like, oh my God, like, what if I never become a musician? And I was like, you know what? If I never become a musician, I'm just gonna kill myself. Like, there's just no point in life anyways. Yikes. Yeah, that's attachment. I was attaching my identity to that thing to the point where if it were to be removed, there would be nothing of me left. So that's kind of how you can tell if you are unhealthily attached to something. And so a healthy attachment, what that means is that you enjoy this thing, you still like it. You don't have to be like, oh, I hate this thing, I don't want it. You know, I don't even care for it, I don't think about it. It's not that. You don't have to like completely reject it and push it away. It's about the fact that you like it, you enjoy it, it's there, but you don't need it. You don't need it to live. So when you have a healthy attachment to, let's say, a partner, a person, you love them, you appreciate them. And this is like how I feel about my boyfriend. Like, I love my boyfriend. I love being around him. I want to be around him as much as I possibly can. Literally any second, any moment, I would love to be around him. But if one day I wake up and he decides he doesn't want me anymore, he breaks up with me, I'm not going to kill myself. I'm gonna get over it. I'll heal. I'll fucking, I'll go to therapy. I will get over it. Like, I will live without him. Like, I would live without him. Like, I would just move on, like, get another life, etc. That doesn't mean that I don't love him. It means that I don't need him to love myself. Does that make sense? So let's, like, basically that's how you know if you are unhealthily attached to something versus if you have a healthy attachment. And so this is where a lot of people go wrong. People spend their entire lives with an unhealthy attachment, unconsciously, to something, whether it be the concept of a romantic love and partnership, whether it be the concept of success and their career exploding, whether it be the concept of living a certain life, having a certain house. And there is a difference between a desire and an attachment, because the attachment basically says that you need this thing, you need this, and you need to build your entire life around getting it. You need to do whatever it takes to get it because you need this thing. And so where does that come from? What even starts an unhealthy attachment? This is the key. So this is what I say all the time, and you've probably heard me say this before, but in order to solve any problem, we need to find the root. If you have any problem in your life, the number one step you need to take is finding the root cause. The root cause of how you become unhealthily attached to something so that you can form a more healthy attachment to it. And I'm also going to get into why having an unhealthy attachment to something actually does block it from coming into your life. And that's our motive, right? So we want to build a healthy attachment to whatever it is that you want, whether love, travel, whatever, right? So that you can have it. Because when you have an unhealthy attachment to something, if you get it, it will not go right. And most of the time you push it away or you self-sabotage, right? So basically what ends up happening is, this is something I've referenced many times, but I'm going to reference it again. There's something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it's something that I really believe in. It is a little controversial. We're going to ignore the controversies today and just kind of digest it surface level. This pyramid is what it is. It's a pyramid that basically shows a human's needs all the way from the basic of like breathing, water, food, to the very top of being creative and living to your fullest potential. And it shows you what you need in order to get to the top. And so this pyramid is not necessarily saying that people who are homeless or living in third world countries cannot be good people. That's not what we're saying. So we're just going to ignore like that controversy because that's kind of the controversy behind it. But let's just take this at surface level. So let's look at this pyramid. You need to basically realize that every single human needs every single one of these. Every human being on earth needs these things to function as like a person, to feel good about themselves, to love themselves. And so like, for example, like love and belonging, like we need community. And the thing is if you are not in a relationship or if you don't have friends, we're not saying that you need that, but you do need to feel like you at least love yourself. Does that make sense? Like you love and appreciate yourself. And so somewhere along the way, this happens a lot. It happens a lot. What will happen is something or someone will create a wound in you and it takes away that need. So it's like a mental thing. It's not like a physical thing. Like let's say that this pyramid, it's all metaphorical and it all represents your mental state and it has nothing to do with the outside world. Okay, let's just say that for now. Someone will do or say something to you and it will create a wound that tells you that you cannot have something on this need. Someone will tell you that you cannot be loved, right? And then that love and belonging gets taken from you. Someone will tell you that you cannot succeed, that you are a failure, and that esteem gets taken from you. Someone will tell you that you are not safe and that I control you and that, you know, you are not taken care of, like you are not in a safe environment, and that psychological needs like the safety, the housing gets taken away from you. Somewhere along the lines of your life, something was taken from you. And the thing is if you had decent parents, all of these needs should have been met for you by your parents. But 99.9% of our parents didn't know what the fuck they were doing. And so they did not provide you with this list that you do need as a human being in order to reach your potential. So what happens? What happens is you're a child, you know that you need love and belonging, you need to feel like you're accepted and that you can love yourself. You know that you need self-esteem, knowing that you are capable of doing anything. You know that you need safety, knowing that you are safe in your environment and your body. And of course, you need all of the basics like water, food, air, etc. You know that you need these things. Someone says you are unlovable and you're like, oh my God, okay, well now I don't have love and belonging. Well, how do I get that back? You spend the next 10 years of your life trying to figure out how to meet that need. That's it. You are trying to fill a wound. You're trying to heal a wound. You're trying to meet a need that you know you need in order to function, but it was taken away from you mentally. Even if you have friends around you, even if you have people who are telling you that they love you, you may still feel like you are unlovable. You may still feel mentally like you will never be loved. You will never have love and belonging. That's why I was saying to take this pyramid as like a mental thing, because it has nothing to necessarily do with your outside reflection. You can have people around you saying that they love you all the time. You don't feel it because that wound is in there telling you that you will never have love and belonging. So instead of being able to be an authentic creative, an amazing human being who is kind to everyone and very selfless and just wants to help people, right? You can't do that because all you're doing, you're living your entire life around trying to meet this need. All you're doing is looks maxing, trying to get prettier so that hopefully you can get love and belonging. All you're doing is working hard. You're working 3 jobs. You're opening 4 businesses. You're going to school. You're doing all this stuff so you could feel like you have self-esteem, so you could feel like you have a sense of success. No matter what you do, nothing will meet this need. That's the problem. You can do as many physical things in the world as you possibly want. You're still going to feel the same, okay? And I'm speaking from experience. So, like, you don't even realize that you're living your life around trying to meet a need of yours. You're living your life out of a wound. You're living your life out of a wound. You're not being authentic. You can't be authentic because you don't feel safe enough to be authentic, because your authenticity means that you might risk losing one of those needs when you need that. Like, in your head, you're like, I need this. And that's what creates an attachment. Because you think all of a sudden, so then you know that you don't have love and belonging, right? Let's just say that. You know that you don't have love and belonging in your head. And then you go, oh my God, I know exactly what will get me love and belonging, a relationship. And then you become attached to the concept of a relationship because you are convinced that it will be the foundation of your self-love and that it can help you solve everything you need. And so without it, you are nothing. You are nothing without it. And that's how you become unhealthily attached to something, because you're like, well, without it, I can't be a fully grown, self-actualizing human being. Like, I cannot reach my fullest potential. And so you place that need on the outside. You say, I need this thing, and the only thing that can help me get it is something on the outside in the physical world, in the 3D, which is technically true in certain aspects of this pyramid, right? Like, you can't get water and food in your head, you know what I mean? But this is the thing, is when it comes to wounds are not logical. You are more complex than this pyramid. That's the thing. So yes, you may end up, let's say you end up getting this relationship and you have this wound. This is what ends up happening, is you use that relationship as the foundation for your self-love, which means that you can't live without it. And once again, that's what creates that unhealthy attachment. So we're trying to avoid that pain, because with any unhealthy attachment, like, you will lose it no matter what. And so we want to make sure that you are not attached to something. And so how do we meet this need so that we don't become attached to things? So basically, like, my personal experience with this is, like, I was so attached to the concept of a relationship. Like, I was 100% just speaking from experience. I used to do nothing but chase a relationship, and it's because a wound was created in me, because I was told that I am unlovable, and I was consistently told that I was ugly. And the thing is being ugly in and of itself means nothing. It doesn't mean anything. What hurts is when being ugly means that you cannot be loved, right? And so that's what it meant for me. It meant that I cannot be loved. And so I spent years not being authentic because all I was doing was trying to be liked, was trying to be loved. I obviously looks maxed. I tried to feminize myself as hard as possible. I spent so much time, so much energy, so much money on trying to be attractive so that I can get someone to like me. And then what happened is someone liked me. Someone actually chose me. I was picked, right? And I still felt the same. Because so when you feel ugly and your mom goes, oh my God, but babe, you look so beautiful. Like, baby, you look so pretty though. And you're like, okay, but you're my mom. Like, of course you're going to say that. Your boyfriend becomes the same person. And so the temporary validation that you get, that you chase, it feels good in the moment, but it never lasts. It's not a foundation. And so what happened was I got a boyfriend who actually fell in love with me. And I always told myself that that's what I needed. That was what I needed. That was all that I needed. And the first time it happened, I used it as my self-love, and then he broke up with me, and then I went crazy and literally tried to kill myself, but that's a story for another time. But then the second time that it happened, like when I actually got someone who actually loved me, and I didn't necessarily base my self-worth on it, but it felt invalid. Like, any proof that maybe I could be loved, I discarded it. It was not qualified as proof anymore. So basically that's what happens. Like, you end up meeting someone, they actually like you, And you'll find a reason as to say why that doesn't count, why that is not proof. So it's like with your mom, you're like, well, you're my mom. You're supposed to find me beautiful. Of course you find me pretty. Like, your opinion means nothing to me. Yeah, well, you're my boyfriend. You're in love with me. So you're blinded by your love for me. So yeah, you can't see how ugly I am. Of course you're going to think I'm pretty. I'm your girlfriend. It doesn't count. That's exactly what will happen. And so you need to meet this wound, and you need to meet this need for yourself first. And that is where reparenting comes in. And this is something I've talked about before in my video for healing. It's about reparenting yourself. That's the key to everything, honestly. You needed these needs met by your parents. They didn't meet them. So now it's your job. You need to be your own parent. This is when you need to step the fuck up and be a mother. You need to mother yourself, okay? And so you cannot look on the outside and hope that you will find the solution out there and have someone meet the need for you, that you'll find a boyfriend and all of a sudden you will meet the need of love and belonging, that you will succeed and all of a sudden you will meet the need of esteem. That's not how it works, because after I eventually met my need of love and belonging, which I did, and a part of that, there's a few things that I did to do that. For one, I think the number one thing that genuinely helped me was I cut off anyone that made me hate myself. That was the biggest thing, because I had a lot of people in my life who made me hate myself for whatever reason, because they hated themselves or because they hated something about me that they were projecting or that they misinterpreted about me. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect. There are controversial things about me, but I genuinely thought that everyone hated me because I was unlovable. Like, that was just it. And then I finally met someone who actually liked me for who I was and was able to be there for me, even when I had my controversial moments, and still forgive me and allow me to grow. And my controversial moments were not abuse or anything. Don't overthink it. I'm just saying things that happen, like whatever, little conflicts. And so I cut off people who were making me hate myself in that time that I allowed for healing. So like, I cut all the people off that made me hate myself, and it took like a year afterwards for me to stop consistently being told how much everyone hated me. Like, that's honestly what my life was. Like, people constantly were just telling me like, I fucking cannot stand you, because I just wasn't their person. Like, there are 8 billion people in the world. I actually don't know the specific number, but there's a lot of people in the world. I swear to fucking God, there are people out there where you will be their person. I'm a very intense person. I talk a lot. There's a lot of things about me that a very chill and very quiet person would fucking hate. And that's the people that I had surrounding me. It was very chill people who just, our personalities conflicted. It was not personal. There was nothing to do with me that was wrong. They just did not work with me. And so leaving those people behind and allowing myself to heal and stop being reminded of how people hate me was one of the best things that I honestly did. That was the start of being able to heal that wound. And then the other thing is obviously surrounding yourself with people who actually like you, who are your people. And that means having standards for your relationships and your friends, having standards, right? And then another thing that I did was, of course, I reparented myself. I stopped replaying the narrative that everyone hates me because I'm unlovable. And because it's like, why would I say that to myself? It's not benefiting me. And I started having more self-forgiveness. I started saying to myself that there are a lot of things that I've done wrong. There are a lot of mistakes that I've made. But at the end of the day, I've never been an evil, intentionally awful person. I've never done that. And anything that I have done, I can redeem and I'll forgive myself for. And I look at it like I'm talking to a child. I don't look at it like myself. I imagine like, there's a child in front of me who has done everything that I've done. What would I say? And I say that. And I say, it's okay. Like, yeah, like you fucked up there, but you're going to do better. And I know that. And what you did was wrong. There's no excuse. But at the end of the day, I forgive you, because holding that resentment for yourself is never going to benefit anything. And so that's one of the things that I did. And obviously just surrounding my life with people who did love me, of course. You don't exist in a vacuum. I'm not saying you do, but you need to have a combination of healing in your mind and allowing the 3D to reflect that. Does that make sense? That's how I was able to meet that need. And now I feel loved. I feel lovable. I feel better. And then after that, I stopped doing things that were inauthentic to me when it comes to my appearance or my career, because I was also chasing a career that was based off of validation and getting people to like me, and it was not my authenticity whatsoever, and so it did not succeed. That's another thing, is nothing that is happening that you're doing that is not authentic to you will ever actually work out. It just will not. You will get so burnt out. Like, you just won't have the drive for it. And that's what happened. I kept getting burnt out at that career because I wasn't authentic. And then after that, I realized that everything like I was doing after that, it was also inauthentic, but in a different sense. I realized that everything that I had done, like after I met that need, everything else that I was doing after that, the new life that I had built for myself, was not authentic, but it wasn't authentic because I was trying to get people to love me. It was authentic because I was trying to have a sense of success. Then I moved up the ladder. I was trying to get my esteem met. And I realized that I had no sense of worth. I had no sense of success. I had no sense of accomplishment. I had no capabilities. Like I really felt like I couldn't do anything. I've never had a sense of success. And so what I would do is I obviously would go on the internet and post like I was already very successful because I wanted people to think that I was successful. I wanted that validation and that esteem. And then another thing that I did was I overworked so fucking hard. I was working 10-hour shifts constantly. And I didn't need to, by the way. I don't even need to do that. Like, I'm not in a survival mode. I'm in a very privileged situation. I don't need to be working that much, but I wanted to prove that I could. I just wanted to prove that I could work that hard. And the reason for this is because one time someone told me straight up to my face that I would never make it in the real world. They literally said, Sky, like, you will never make it in the real world. You will never succeed. They straight up told me that to my face. And that need was instantly wounded. It created a wound in me that made me feel like I need to work as hard as I can to meet that need of esteem. So I started working full-time job. I started way overworking, taking way too many shifts, picking up a lot of hours. And then I started school because I was like, well, this isn't enough. Like, I need to prove that I can do everything. I wanted to prove that I can do everything. And people were like, oh, you're not going to be able to work full-time and do school. You're going to like kill yourself. And I fucking did it. I did that shit. And then I started a small business after everything. I was like, no, this isn't enough. I need to prove more because nothing felt successful. No matter what, like the fact that I proved it, like I'm sitting here thinking about it and I'm talking about the fact that I did do school full-time and I worked full-time for multiple months. I don't feel accomplished at all. That doesn't feel like an accomplishment. And then I started a small business and everyone was really proud of me. They were like, wow, this is incredible. Like, you're really like doing so much with your life. And so I didn't drop out of school. I didn't close my business. But what I did do is I shifted my perspective and shifted my motive. My motive behind going to school was to have an education and to learn and expand my knowledge, not to prove to others that I could succeed. And I started working part-time because I was like, I don't know why I'm even working this much. I don't need to. And I shifted my motive with my business. Instead of being like, oh, I need to prove to everyone from high school that I could succeed, I was like, actually, I want to do this business because I'm actually passionate about it. And not because I want to prove to others that I can succeed. So like, you could have two motives behind something, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't mean that everything that I was doing, I like immediately needed to stop, but I needed to shift my motivation. And once I realized that, what I started doing, so this is something I'm currently working on. I'm talking about the present now. This is a wound that I still have. And so how I do this is like, I have a video where I already kind of explained like how I personally heal my wounds. And for me, that involves reparenting. I do a lot of affirmations. So like, I wake up and I write in a journal every morning and I write my affirmations like, I am successful no matter what. I am successful for everything that I've already accomplished. I am a successful person. I am capable of everything, right? So like, I write down all my affirmations the minute that I wake up because your brain is more susceptible to all your information at that point. So don't wake up and fucking brain rot. I swear to God, that shit pisses me off so bad because you are literally absorbing every single thing you see, and it's like playing Russian roulette. You don't know if the next video you're gonna scroll on is gonna be someone fucking getting murdered. Don't risk it. Wake up for 30 minutes, immediately write down everything that's just in your brain. This is what I like to call the morning pages. If you've read The Artist's Way, this is what I practice. Write down everything that comes to your brain. It could be your dreams, what you're gonna do for the day, anything. And then when you're done with that, I usually write 1 or 2 pages. You're supposed to write 3, but I just don't have the energy. Sometimes I'm too tired. So like, write 1 or 2 pages. Once you're done with that, write down a list of your affirmations and just say it, like, just write it down like you're saying it to yourself. Not like you're doing an assignment, being like, I am successful, like no matter what. So that's something that just slowly over time you will integrate into your brain. It takes a lot of time and practice. And then another thing is, obviously, I personally practice EMDR. This is like a modality of therapy that people use to literally reprogram your unconscious beliefs. It is the most helpful thing that I've ever tried in my life, and I recommend it to everyone, but you can't do it without a professional, and so it can be kind of expensive for a lot of people to pay for therapy if you don't have like your Medicaid or something, like if you don't have like full coverage insurance basically. So I know that can be difficult, but if you do have the means, please reach out to a therapist, and specifically a therapist that specializes in EMDR, because it is the most helpful thing that I've ever seen, and it works the fastest in my opinion. Like, I only have to do a few sessions before I start to feel better, if that makes sense. And then obviously practicing like being conscious of your thoughts. And so for me, like what I started doing was I started noticing everything that I was doing out of this wound, and I started just being conscious of it and deciding to act differently based off of if I had already met this wound. And so I started working part-time because I was like, I don't need to overwork. I'm already successful. Kind of like acting like that, showing that to myself, and constantly thinking that like, I am already successful. I don't need to do any of these things to prove it. I am already successful, and just really consciously watching your thoughts. And so because this is something I'm currently working on, I don't have, I guess, the best advice, honestly, on how to specifically meet this need. I'm still working on it. But what I've already noticed so far from what I've already done, just being conscious of it, changing my thoughts, reparenting myself, I also do like my own therapy. Like, I will have my own therapy sessions where I go in my room, and it's like I make sure that my space is very comfortable and cozy, and I'll have this is actually so crazy. I'm sorry but I have to say it. Like, I just have to tell you guys, but this is so crazy. You guys are actually gonna think I'm schizophrenic, but I literally have what I like to call my schizophrenic sessions, where I pretend that there is and I do this specifically when I'm really mad at someone. I pretend that there's someone in front of me, whether it be the person that I'm really mad at, the person that wounded me, hurt me, or the person that told me that thing about my wound, like that told me that I would never make it in the real world. And it could be that, or I talk to my younger self, and I literally sit there and I have the most open and honest conversation as if I am genuinely talking to them, and I just hash it out and I say whatever the fuck I need to say. But keeping it in and going and pretending like it doesn't exist is probably the worst thing that you can do. So don't do that. I say whatever I want to say to my younger self. Like, I'm so sorry that I wasn't there to protect you. I'm so proud of everything that you've done. I want to let you know that, like, I think that you're successful no matter what you've done. Like, I love everything that you've done. So you can do that. Or I talk to the person that told me this, and I'm like, you're a bitch and I fucking hate you, and you were wrong about what you said to me. And so that has been really healing for me. Very healing. It's something that I will never actually show anyone that I do. I don't really tell a lot of people that I do it, but it's so healing. It's crazy. And I always end up crying. It's really so healing because I can just say what I've been keeping in, because that's what emotions are. You just got to release them. You got to fucking just get them out, basically. So whatever works for you. You could journal, you can talk to someone about it. And also, obviously, stop surrounding yourself with people who reflect your wounds back to you. Stop surrounding yourself with people who think that you are a failure or make it known that they think that. That's going to help a lot if you do that. Another thing too is the reason that you want to like heal this wound and heal this attachment is because anything that you're trying to quote unquote manifest, like if you have this wound, there's no way for you to know if what you're manifesting is truly authentic to you because you're trying to meet this wound. And then another thing is, if you are trying to manifest something that's not authentic to you, you're desperate for it, very desperate for it. And so like anything you're desperate for will run from you, and it will never work in your favor. Like, it's not a good way to live. You should always be okay, completely okay and happy to live with or without anything in the world, because no matter what, you can't take anything with you when you die. And so that's another reason that you kind of want to fix this like attachment, because it could be a very unhealthy way to live in general. Like, I was so attached to the idea of success and fame and money for the last like few years because of this wound, when in reality it's not authentic to me. Like, what I truly appreciate is actually creativity and community and love and enjoyment and art, you know what I mean? And so those are the things that are authentic to me, and I was surrounding myself with values that weren't really that authentic to me, like money and success and validation, and it wasn't really who I was. And so you will be able to live a more authentic and happy life when you can meet this wound and you could heal that, and you can tell yourself, like, I am successful, I am loved no matter what, I am safe, you know? And so that's another reason that is really important to want to heal this wound. And then another thing too, once I started working on this wound of esteem, right off the bat, honestly, the number one thing that I noticed was my authentic desires already have started coming back to me. When I was a kid, the number one thing I wanted to do was be a musician and make movies or act and just be somewhere in the film industry. It's like always been my passion. And I completely let go of that and forgot it and put it on the back burner because in my head, it wasn't going to be the thing that was going to meet my need. I wasn't going to do it unless it was guaranteeing me success and money, which when it comes to the arts, you're never guaranteed success and money. And that's the thing. And so I completely just forgot about it. I didn't care. I really didn't work on it whatsoever. And once I started meeting this need, I actually realized that one of the priorities that I started having again was to create art, because it necessarily wasn't going to guarantee me success and meet this need, but because I'm already working on meeting the wound, I didn't need it for that reason. And so I was able to do the things that I truly loved without worrying if it was going to actually bring me success and money and validation. And that is how you can live an authentic and beautiful life. And so I've already started being more passionate about film and music and all of that stuff. Like I've already been like, okay, like how can I get back to this? How can I start working on this again? Which to me means that I'm doing something right. And honestly, just the step of awareness was one of the biggest things for me. Once I realized what I was actually, like how I was living out of this wound, really was able to solve it. And then being able to consciously just allow myself to think that I can be successful. Overall, I hope that you found something from this video that might be helpful. And I'm sorry this maybe was kind of a long video, but I just have so much to say about this because it's something that I'm learning. And I just want to preface that I don't know everything. I'm learning with you guys, but I love being able to talk about what I'm learning as I'm learning it with you guys and update kind of like how my journey, like my soul journey is kind of going. And maybe if like you haven't learned this, like give you guys some pointers and stuff like that. So I'm not ever trying to say that I know more than anyone or that I like, you know, because I know I'm young, so I'm never trying to be like necessarily like a guru or anything, but I just love sharing with you guys like what I'm learning in my life experience, and hopefully it can help you in some way and that you can take something from it in some way or share that you're going through it too, because I feel like so many people are really living out of their wounds and they're building their entire life around trying to meet that need and they're not even aware of it. And so like that's like honestly 90% of people. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Follow and subscribe or whatever people say. I love you.